Philosophers talk to our times, echoes of Rome. Today, I want to do a philosopher who, for two reasons I'll go through later, is terribly important to how you must understand the way the West has behaved for the last 2,000 years. This philosopher is one you might not have heard of. It is Plotinus. Plotinus was a Neoplatonic thinker of the 3rd century in Rome, the 3rd century of the Common Era. Yes, that time. He was writing at the time that Rome nearly fell. A sequence of bloody civil wars pulled the old empire nearly apart, lasting from the death of Severus Alexander sometime in the 2010s, I think, as far as I remember, all the way up until Diocletian, arguably Constantine. So up into 285 or 305, depending on how you want to count it. Oh, there were moments of quiet when good emperors like Aurelian seemed to set the world at rights, but by and large, this was a period of anarchy, of great generals becoming poor emperors, and great emperors fooling the greedy generals. It is remarkable, then, that in Rome, a philosopher writes at this time, and writes in Greek. A philosophy that has echoes of the Zoroastrianism that had just taken over the Near East. Iran and Iraq, as we would have them today, old Persia, had risen again as a Zoroastrian state. If you believe, Zoroastrian, just to remind you, is the belief in two forces, two gods, one of good and one of evil. So, what did Plotinus say? Plotinus took the philosophy of Middle Plato and gave it utter legs. The highest thing he said then is the one who is all alone and evermore will be so. They are like the sun itself, pitched in the sky, a loneliness beyond thought, beyond understanding. And yet understanding proceedeth from the one. The great ideas and ideals of the intellect are created within it, are like the light that shines from the sun, the light and the warmth. And they then hit the world and illumine the world, and the world glows with myriad colours. This is the soul. Be it the soul of all the world that reflects the one, or the soul of us each individual, caught as we were as an aspect of the one. Each one of these radiations are emanations. The one emanates the intellect. The intellect emanates the world soul. The world soul gives us our reality. Always you come back to the sun that shines so bright, and the world that it creates, and the hidden light and warmth that flows from it. And yet, Plotinus, there is something missing in Plotinus' beautiful account. Matter. That thing that the light illumines, Plotinus wants to dismiss. It is the debase. He can never quite decide whether it is an emanation of the soul or something else, something utterly foreign, something utterly evil, a demon like the dark forces of Zoroastrianism. It is the opposite then of the one. It is the myriad, the shifting, the changing, that which lurks in the dark. It's hard sometimes not to be carried along with Plotinus and all this beautiful spiritualism. Augustine was. It becomes the route by which later Christianity, when it takes up these ideas and adopts them via John's Gospel, of the Trinity, Father, Son and Holy Ghost, one intellect and the world soul. It's a powerful idea. And yet, as often with powerful ideas, it's a very dangerous idea, both for what it does say and also for what it doesn't. Let me first of all think about what it doesn't say. I've kind of mentioned it, that Plotinus has a problem with matter. What matters for him is the intellect. Essence is intelligence. True being, then, lies in understanding, in taking your essence back to the one. It lies in being part of the great I am, which is defined for us through our intellects and our reason alone. This, then, is a world where light alone matters. What is illumined, what I understand, what I can understand. And anything I can't understand, that doesn't just not matter. It is actively evil. It must be dismissed, marginalised, destroyed. You can't even decide what it is or why it is. In the perfect world of the one, matter, the blind stuff in which we live and die, wouldn't exist, for spirit alone is true. Isn't this the dark view of the empire? In the end, what matters is what we shine a light on, how we understand that light. And anything else, it's in the dark. Who cares? And so all the great acts of genocide are surely this move. A light is shone so bright on a people, a land, a chosen world. And all the rest is just darkness and evil, to be dismissed as some sort of blind horror. It doesn't matter then whether that genocide is of the Native Americans, the Tasmanians, or the Ghazians. The story is always the same. The apostles of the light must forget the dark. And Plotinus, in his honesty, in his honest acceptance that he cannot really explain matter, or in a sense, is the visionary of this dark view. A dark view that no doubt reflected the Roman politics of his time. After all, remember, in Rome, to prick your finger was to risk blood poisoning. And in days of anarchy, anything beyond the light of philosophy must have felt terrible indeed. I don't know that I blame Plotinus for such a dark vision, but we have no such excuse. But the second point that is terribly important for us in Plotinus is that Plotinus, in his lauding of an intellect that is fundamentally understood through the light and through itself alone, surely creates the structure within which we can believe in artificial intelligence. I mean, let me just point this out. There is something deeply wrong with artificial intelligence if you compare it to human intelligence. I'm not querying its IQ at the moment. I'm really not. Okay, that's for other things. If it was intelligent, it would not be intelligent like we are. For our intelligence lies through matter. It is through having a body we learn about the world. We become what we are. And yes, our intelligence might be a thing of light, and Plotinus might be right, and we might be forever straining away into reason, into the domain of the perfect thought. Maybe. But in the end, we always have to come back to what can be achieved in that world of matter that is partly hidden from us. For we only understand it as it impacts upon our mind, as it is already creating. As Spinoza would say, the essence of a mind lies in a body that is actually affected, in the actual affections of the body, not in the body itself. But Plotinus says no. True intellect is itself understandable and conceivable. It is the world of light. It doesn't need a body. It doesn't want a body. And this, of course, is the internet. The internet doesn't learn through its body. Oh, it needs it, and it costs a lot of money to keep it going. But it doesn't need it like we need it to perceive. It doesn't learn like we learn. It learns rather like the Plotinian intellect. Everything is already there. It just needs to be gone through, unpulled, worked out. It is a totally different vision of intelligence, of what intelligence could be, of what it ought to be. And I don't know, unless That vision of intelligence is somehow removed from matter, removed from the body, in a perfect box, had been popularized via Christian theology, but taken from Plotinus. I suspect we would be more suspect of artificial intelligence, because we would know its intelligence that must always be so different from our own. For the one does not think like the many. A truth, I guess, we'll come back to again and again and again, if future days there be.